Thank you so much for everyone for attending this session. Today, we're going to figure out how to take the chaos in the Power Platform and add some control to it. And if you're a visual learner, I've actually put this together for you. So what we're going from is absolute chaos, as you can see, of all the mess on the left-hand side there, and we're going to some sort of control that we're going to, I guess, explain to you how we achieve that through the session. So again, that's really focused on the Power Platform and how we can take it from a chaotic state into having some control for your organization. So it's worth noting, this is our second session talking about or speaking to you about the Power Platform. In case you missed the first one, we did do a session around data protection. So some of you may know that as backup and recovery for the Power Platform. So you've missed that, and it's something of interest. It's something that you can access, and you can get it directly on our website. So resources, go to the webinars section. It's all available to you there. There's a whole bunch of other webinars there too that you might want to review. So how are we explaining to you how we're going from from chaos to control in the session today? So actually, before I kick into the agenda, it's just some housekeeping rules. I know you can take yourself off mute. If you have a question, please do so. Take yourself off mute or put it into the chat of the meeting here. We'll be reviewing it and answering your questions as we go. If you don't feel comfortable speaking up, but happy to take on questions as they come up. But do know that we have, as you can see at the bottom of the screen there, time put aside for questions and answers. So we will be covering any questions and answers at the end too. So why are we here? In short, what is the challenge that we are solving in today's session? So really highlighting or getting across what is the problem? What are we solving here? Then next, where does AvePoint fit into solving that problem, right? So AvePoint, we're the largest ISV focused on Microsoft 365. Where do we fit in solving the problem of the Power Platform being a little bit chaotic and putting some control into place? Then just a little bit of recap, what did we learn? And then some questions and answers at the end. There's going to be a lot of information. So please, if you've got questions, again, just shout out. Now, who's speaking to you today? My name is Thomas Jamid. I've been at AvePoint coming up 80 years at the end of this year. So a long time AvePoint veteran. And my role is the enterprise team leader and also the New Zealand territory manager. So for any Kiwis on the call, maybe you'll see me around. And Sharif, I don't know if you want to, introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Sharif Al-Zoghbi. With AvePoint almost a year now. My background is development, and I am a Kiwi as well. Lived in New Zealand for 6 years, so we'll be visiting with Tom. If Tom is visiting, you might see me with him.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so let's kick into it. So why are we here, right? So you've all seen this, the Power Platform, and I'm sure you've all heard the same. Do more with less. So Microsoft tends to give our end users a lot of functionality to, I guess, support better collaboration, which is fantastic. However, with that can come some consequences around, I guess, the operational governance of some of these tools that are provided to end users, right? So this whole idea of do more with less, let's empower the business users with these, application building tools, so you can figure out your own workflows or build your own workflows for your organization, also has some consequences to it, right? So we're going to focus on the Power Platform and I guess highlighting some of those challenges. We've got 4 points here, so I'll try not to read just directly off the slide, but the first one is, who's making these applications and what is the purpose for these applications, right? And it's very typical when you're creating a Microsoft team. You give the team a certain name, you might have some sort of purpose behind it, you might attach some metadata to it if you've got proper governance controls in place. But why don't we do that with our applications, right? And then how do we audit these as well? So if you're in this session, you might be at an organization where, having some level of, enforcement of policy or governance is important to you. It's pretty difficult to do that with your flows and your applications that you build out of the Power Platform, right? So why is that there's kind of like a black hole there? And then I'm sure you've all heard the term sprawl, Microsoft Teams sprawl. We've created 10,000 teams, only 50 are being used. And that's kind of where life cycle fits into, right? There's no life cycle around these applications. They get built and then they just kind of hang around. So you can actually see there too, there's no ownership of this. So no primary owner, no secondary owner, right? What's the business need for this? And additionally, I'm sure you've got to apply some metadata too, according to whatever what your business requires. And lastly, number 4, a manual process to move apps and flows. So when you build an application, it goes straight into production, right? So how do we have some sort of controls around that, from QA to test to production? And we'll be covering that for you today. Now, to put that into another way, it's really about this whole idea of SaaS or digital transformation, right? So we have, I guess, lots of systems now, or cloud systems, that users are working with, and typically they have open sharing. So in other words, you can share to Thomas at AvePoint maybe some documentation that shouldn't be allowed, right? And we can build applications that kind of take those actions too. And then we have all these compliance processes, but how do we apply these processes to Microsoft 365, or where that collaboration is taking place, without also burdening the business user, making it so difficult that what you're going to create is shadow IT. They're going to go around, they're going to use their personal Dropbox and share documents that way, right? And now we got to kind of stop that, put it into that. And then lastly, the operations and management need to evolve and change. So it's a lot of what we talk about at AvePoint is making it easy to do the right thing. We've got this slide we sometimes use in front of customers that you put up the barriers on a bowling lane, and it's making it easy, right, to do the right thing. You're going to hit the pins if the sides are up, and that's kind of what we do here. Yeah. Now I kind of wanted to put it back to the audience. We've got an idea of how we approach SaaS management, or management of Microsoft 365. But I wanted to put it to the crowd, and this might be a little bit brave of me. I might get no response, but where are you in your journey of trying to put some management around the Power Platform or Microsoft 365 in general? I'd love to hear some examples. I knew I was going to be too brave. Okay. So we'll move on, but I want to highlight this slide a little bit, because this is, in a way, and Sharif is going to go into this a lot more in detail than me with a demonstration too. But this is how AvePoint approaches, I guess, putting some management, putting some controls, putting some policies onto these workloads like the Power Platform, and without burdening the business user, right? So we're going to go into this a little bit more in detail, but this is all about putting some control in place, as you can see there at the bottom. Cool. And lastly, and then my piece is done till the end, and Sharif will take over. But I guess what we're trying to achieve is, have some visibility of these applications that are being created, right? Who's the owner? What's the purpose? Ensuring that they're not connecting to your personal LinkedIn and pushing information that somebody else is seeing, and having some sort of security breach. Then also, lastly, the idea is to actually empower the business, get better outcomes, achieve better collaboration, and that's the point of the Power Platform, right? And it's a great tool. It's just we have some other pieces that we need to work on as well. So Sharif, with that, I might throw it to you, and just let me know when you want me to change the slide.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, so diving a little bit deep on when we talk about platform, what is there? What is the problem when it comes to environments? So as Ian mentioned in the chat, he's using environments, and we also saw from Stephen talking about is COE toolkit. Yes, we know that this is there, out of the box native. It has its limits, but we can expand more on that. So let's start with the problem from the environments level, as Ian mentioned in here. So when you have the environments in here, you need to find a way that can help you control the access, allow the actions that is available in each of these environments. If you have fraud and stage and development, you are not allowing them to use email send in production, for example, but you can still allow them in stage and dev to still have this as an option that they can add as an action in their flows or apps. You need a way to apply data policies to each of these environments. So for every environment, I will lock what actions, I will lock what security, and I will also try to make sure that only the action that allow is possible there. The last problem that we see a lot as well is about the connectors. There is lots of connectors, native Microsoft, custom ones. A lot of them we allow, and others that we don't want them to be used because we are not sure that they will securely access our tenant. So if we don't have control on this, that's a problem. So that's on the environment level. We didn't have the environments before, we have it now, so that's great. But we still need to have these actions or these control on these 4 areas that I mentioned. Next slide, please, Tom. Yeah, so it all starts with an idea, iterations of features and improvements. Then it becomes very useful for the business. Someone created an app which will help me complete my timesheet. He was using it by his own. Now he shared it with me. I like the idea. It's very useful. Now I told my team. My team told all the department. The department now let the CEO and everyone in the company knowing about it. So it's now a critical app that everyone is using. So how we make sure that it's scaled? It will support from one user who created it to everyone in the organization with the good performance, and at the same time with the flexibility and the ownership to keep it working, keep it updated, improved. Next slide, please. So the way that we help that is AvePoint is providing a solution. So we have AvePoint Empower and AvePoint My Hub or Cloud Governance. So when we use the Empower, we will help you have these flexible dashboards with full visibility of all the Power Platform objects, not only apps, but also flows, Power BIs, environments, connections. We will also give you detailed reporting. So you can actually dive deep in any of these dashboards, gadgets, and see all the Power Apps that you have, all the flows, all the connections, all the Power BIs. When you see this report, you will also be able to export the content to filtering, use your own custom views. I want to see only the ones that are accessed by me, the only ones that are in this environment, the only ones that are using premium connections. So you can actually control a lot of this, as well as sending notifications. So why this app is in here, I will contact the app owner and ask them, what is the context of this app? Is it actually something that we should be using? Is it actually active, or should we end its life? So that's the way that we can govern it as well. So we will give you the tool to actually define a renewal process for each of your Power Apps. What will happen if it's not active? When should I renew it? When should I delete it? So with Empower and My Hub, a Teams app that you can use within Team, as an approver, you can actually review the renewal and action it. And as an admin, you can use Empower to go deeper with the reporting and the management across all of the Power Platform. And I will show definitely all of this in the demo, as Tom mentioned. Next slide, please. Yeah, so our model is helping all the stakeholders across the life cycle of any of these Power Platform. So it starts with the Power platform owners and ends with the analytics team. So for the Power Platform owners and the analytics team, we give them this ownership structure that they can address any challenges with the IT admin. So we will talk with the IT admin as an owner and the analytics team. We will make sure that we are aligned. We have the structure to allow this ownership, and at the same time, make sure that there is no challenges in the governance, maintaining it, managing it. We also help the IT admin to have these insights, this visibility across all of the created apps and the Power Platform objects. So they are not seeing what any owner they are creating. They are seeing everything that is created across the whole tenant using our Empower insights and reporting capabilities. And finally, the DevOps group and app owners. So we allow them to have this clear communication so that they know when they should step in and say, I want to take an action on that. I want to make sure that this app is used by everyone. So they will have this communication clearly when they have the visibility and they work in collaboration with the IT admin and the owners as well, so that the app users can actually have apps that are useful for them, updated, not duplicated, and they get to do their day-to-day job if it's depending on any of these apps without any blockers, without any problems. Next slide, please, Tom. So what we are supporting today. So as you know, Power Platform is massive. So we are the only vendor who started the Power Platform journey across of all our solutions. As Tom mentioned at the beginning, we had this previous session on backup. So this is when we started. Now we are adding this as well in all of our other solutions that are all SaaS. So the focus of today is about the governance. What we cover in the governance is the Power BI, the Power Apps, and the Power Automate, in addition to the connections and the environments. Next slide, please, on. But this is not stopping. So we are a Microsoft partner. So we work very closely with them to make sure that everything else in the Power Platform objects are covered. As I mentioned, we started with backup, was only backup, having Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and now this is expanded. We have this in our governance solution and also in our migration solution. So this is really happening, and we are actively working on expanding all of this to be across all of the Power Platform and also inside all of our solutions, not only the governance, but also migration and backup. Next slide, please. So enough talking about all of this. Let me now share my screen and show you in action these insights and this governance that we talked about today. Hope you can all see my screen now. So this is the landing page of our Empower solution. As you can see, the landing page in here is showing you these insights that we talk about. The dashboard on here has a lot. In here, all of the one that you can see, the focus of today will be the Power Platform. But as you can see in the screen here, we have more than that. It's not only Power Platform. So all of these insights or dashboard insights is coming by auto discovery. So we have an auto discovery that you define when it will run. It will discover any newly apps or any newly objects that are created, and then it will update this dashboard for you. So when I go to the Power Apps in here to show you how it works, you will see the landing page of the Power Apps in here is showing you two created views. The first one is an overview of all the apps that you have on the tenant. So this is the connected tenant through our Azure app. So we're not using service accounts. We are using an Azure app with API permissions granted. It's reading what you have in the tenant to give you these insights about the total apps, the apps created, the total app creators, and it also showing you these rankings by connection, by users, by activity, by launches. If you have any apps that are created in a department, if you are having app users using the app, you will have these two gadgets as well updated. And there is options as well to see all of these filtered. So I have a lot of filters in here that you can filter all the data in this dashboard by on the user level, on the Power Platform level. So I want to see only this for my office, for my country, for my department. I want to see only the ones that are in this environment, which is the stage or the production or the dev. So you can actually filter and change any of these content that you see in the dashboard. You can also manage adding any gadget. So we will add more gadgets. So you can edit the dashboard, delete any gadgets that you don't want to see now, or add others if you want to. You can also go back in time within date or last 90, 30 days. And the other view is giving you these orphaned apps. So I have a lot of apps, but I want to see all the ones that are not active, they are not used. So it loads up with these apps with filters that are already predefined for you. But if I want to define what is meant for me as a legacy app, I can actually come in here and say, change this. I want to see the legacy app that are last published date more than any number of days. So it's not 90, it's more. Let's do it number of months. So you can actually define what legacy apps mean for you in here, as well as the ownership risk in here. So I can see in here all the app that doesn't have an owner, doesn't have a co-owner. That's a big risk. It's an app that is created and someone left the organization, or someone created the app and then it's never used. No one is managing it. And it has connections to Outlook, to Profile, things that needs an attention. So I can come in here and say, I want to make sure that any app and or conditions is meeting this criteria is showing up in here. So I can keep track of what's happening. And the last one in here is about the business context. So for each of the apps, you can actually send a notification and ask them, what is this app used for? So I can track in here whether how many context clarification did I send? Did I get any response? Did they actually complete this context? And they told me why they need this app. And you can control this in here as well. So I want to see all the ones that are not responded, all of them, or within specific time. So maybe I want to do this for the next 2 weeks and then I will stop because I will have an idea about what I need and then I don't want to track it anymore. So as you can see, there is a lot of flexibility in the dashboard in here that you can control to give you this insight. So this is all just giving you this visibility. After that, you can then go deeper and see the reporting. So I want to see a report of everything that's in here. So for example, if I went back in here, I will click on one of these dashboards and I will say, show me all of it. Show me all of the ones that in here. So latest report. So this will actually take you to the report of the Power Apps. It's still within the same solution, but it's opening it in a new tab in here. So it's showing me now a report for all the Power Apps, the latest one that are created, the ones that are highly shared, the ones that are having premium connectors. So you can actually filter and export and manage what are the columns that are displayed in each of these reports. And if you want, you can just save this as your own view. So I want to come in here and just select my view, and this will show me the columns, the filter, and then I will export and keep track of all the apps that I should be keeping track of. So you can actually do all of that in here. It's not only on the Power Apps, as you can see on the left side. You can do the same thing on the environments, the connections, the Power Automate, and also the Power BI. When it comes to any of these apps, you can see in here how many users are having this shared with them. If I select the app, I have actions that I can do in this app. So it's not only giving you the insights, it's also allowing you to do actions within this UI. So I can in here manage all the permission that I have on the app, whether it's only the users, only the owners, or all of them. I can also manage the share it with more people, or remove any share, change the access that they have on the share from owner to co-owner or user. There is other actions like copy, delete, send the context email, or send them an email asking them why they need this for. So I can come in here and define the preview email, the form that they will receive to provide me with the information so that I can decide what is the renewal for this app. Should I still have it? Should I just delete it? So there is a lot of actions in here, and one of them is this apply renewal profile, which I will show you what settings you can define in this one. So this one will control the life cycle of the Power App and will also allow you to check the permissions on a schedule that you define. So maybe every 2 months, I want to make sure that only the right people are having access to the right apps. So as an approver, I will dedicate this role to them. So they will receive maybe the manager of the requester of the app, or maybe the admin, or maybe the department head. They will receive notification of the apps that are created under their department by users who report to them, and then they can control what will happen in the renewal process. A lot of actions in here, as you can see, you can control. If I click on any of this app, you will also be able to see things on the app itself and control basic info, see the access, see the connections, and if there's any activities happening on the app, you will be able to see this as well. So as you can see in here, these are the basic ones. I can change the owner. These are all the access granted for the app. So I can see them in the report, but I can also go to the individual app and see all of this in depth. It's not shared with the whole organization. I can change this from here. I can see all the connection types, if there's any connection types that are used in this app. So this app is mainly for data entry. It's not using a lot of connections. If there's any other connections used, you will see them here. I can see also the activity. So this one is within a date, but I can see in here what happened. So that's auditing on what happened on this app. Who created it, when it was created, who did the launch, who did any edit on the permissions or any of the other levels. So it's really detailed and really useful. And as I said, it's giving you this visibility, not only as a viewer, but also as an editor. And it's multi-tenant. So you don't have to think about this. It's only production, it's only stage. No, you have 3 tenants, connect all of them, have this visibility across all of them. So you don't have to go to the admin for each one of them. You don't have to think about copying, deleting, or doing all of these actions. It can all happen within this UI in here. The last thing that I want to show you in here before going to the renewal process is about the policies as well. So we can create in here DLP policies that you can apply on the environment level. So if I edited any of these, so in here I have all the policies. I can create new ones, delete any existing, and I can see what are the environments that have these policies applied on them. So for example, the production policy in here is applied in 2 environments. So if I click on this one to show you the edit, I can see in here I can define a name, and then this name will then be linked to what settings I want to monitor. I have a multi-tenant connection, so I can choose what tenant this policy will be applied on. I want to include DLP, flow action, and also security group. And then the next screens will help you define these settings one by one. So the first one, the DLP. So this is loading all the DLP policies or the data policies that you have in the Power Platform admin. So I can actually create them there, and then it will automatically be available for me to choose in here. And then I can apply it on any environment. Not only the DLP or the data policy, but also the other settings like the flow action and the security. So the Power Platform admin will give you the option to do the data policy. We are grouping this data policy with security group and with flow action for you so that you have all of that applied together, not separately. So the next one in here is the flow action. So I can allow in here what flow actions should be available when they create any app or any Power Platform object in this environment that I'm applying on. So you can see in here, we have all of the different connection types. You can switch between them as you want. You can either say don't allow these ones or only allow specific ones. So this means that when they create any Power Platform object, whether it's a Power App, a Power Automate, or Power BI in this environment, we will make sure that they are not using the send email, because we want to make sure that they are not spamming people in the production with emails. If it's stage or development, it's controlled. But in production, we want to make sure that this is under control. And the last thing that we define in here is, again, allowing only flow actions, allowing here only the security groups that we allow or users. So I can say only allow these users to do the changes on this level. So it can be specified users or it can be dynamic. So I want to make sure that any user who is in this department is allowed to do the actions in this environment. Or maybe the other way around, I don't want to allow anyone from this office. So maybe I will allow it only for the IT admin. And you have a lot of conditions in here using M65 and Azure attributes. It can be company, office, city, country, role, and then you can define what is this condition, and then this will follow the policy and be applied on any of the environment that you define. So this is, for example, the 2 environments that has this policy applied on them. So you can see in here what is the type of the environment created, how many apps they have, and how many flows they have. And again, you can click on it and see all the details, very similar to Power App. So this applies to any of the objects that you see on the Power Platform. In here in the menu, showed you Power Apps, now show the environment, connections, Power Automate, Power BI work the same way. You can see a list of report, export, filter, do bulk actions, and then go to an individual flow or app or Power BI, and then see all the details, and again, manage and control the access on that level. So that's the dashboard in here. The next step that I will do is show you, I applied renewal now. So there is a renewal, what I define in the renewal, and as an approver, how I can see that. But before I do that, I'll just give you a minute. If you have any questions, you want to add them in the chat or raise hand or come out of mute if you want.
We do have a couple of questions, Sharif. So we got one from Ray. Can Entrust, now called Empower, show orphaned teams in the same way it shows orphaned applications?
Yeah, so not at the moment. It's a bit off track, as you said, because we are covering the Power Platform in Entrust, but this doesn't mean that we don't have other solutions that can do that. So in my hub or cloud governance, where I will show you the renewal now, you can have a report which will show you all the teams you have. And then from there, you can actually see if there is any teams that are orphaned or not accessed. And this can also be part of the renewal process. So when you renew a team, you will see the last activity was 2 years ago. So this is an orphan team, so I will delete it.
Yeah, it's part of our control suite, but it's actually a different solution. But yeah, like Sharif said, it's all kind of coming together. Another one, Sharif, for you. Are these history logs from the Microsoft audit log, and the retention of the log is how long?
Yeah, so we normally, in all our solutions, we don't access any content. We only ingest metadata and audits from M65. So what we do is we retain it beyond the Microsoft period. So if Microsoft is retaining it for 60, 90 days from memory, I think, we extend this to be unlimited, or until you tell us this is the retention that I want to have. I want to have the audit till 1 year or 2 years. And we give you this control across all of our different solutions, whether it's backup or Entrust or the governance.
Now we've got one last question from Stephen. Can you see workspaces for Power BI?
Yes, we can. So one of the reports that you see in here is on the Power BIs. So if we want to the Power BIs in here, you can actually see all of the Power BIs. I'm trying to find one that has the report from memory. When you click on any of these Power BIs, it should show you all the reports that they have. Not sure if we have any here that I can show you at the moment. Yes, 2 reports. Number of reports in this Power BI is 2. And if I click on this one, this will actually open the report, and it will show me these reports that I have in this Power BI.
Is there anything to actively monitor long-running flows, Sharif?
I think this will be part of what you can see in the flows in here. So let me go to the flows to show you what I mean. So when we go to any of the flows, because running too long is not actually an error, that's the problem. It might be because I have a long list. When it actually fails, this is when you will be able to see that in the status in here, when you go to the flow, it will tell you that it's failed or in progress. But running long, because it's not an error, we cannot pinpoint and say, yes, this one is erroring because it's running for 2 days. Might be running for 2 days because I have a big data set. That's why it's hard to capture, but it's still viewable inside the reports in here to see whether it's in progress or still started or failed.
We have got through the list of questions. If you wanted to carry on, I'll leave you to it.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Tom. Okay, so when it comes to the renewal, so we have a renewal in place. I will define in this renewal what will happen for any Power App. And again, as I said, the Power App is imported automatically. So when any new Power App is created, we know about it. We can then come in here and say, as an approver or as an admin, I want to make sure that any renewal has these settings. So it will allow them to define a scope for me. So this scope will be showing them actions that is allowed when they do the renew. So in here, I have these containers, which will scope all of these apps that I want to control. I want to have this automatic imported on daily basis. So any new app created will be added automatically in here. So I don't have to manually know what is it. And when it's added, it will have automatically a renewal profile applied to it. When it comes to the renewal profile in here, this is all the magic happens. So in the renewal profile in here, this is the admin of the cloud governance to control everything that is related to the governance, not only in Power App, everything else. You can create renewal profile for a lot of different objects, not only Power App. But I will show you the Power App as an example in here. So if I edit the Power App, this one in here, you will see that I can define in here the language that the renewal task assignee will have as a message to do the renewal. I can define when the renewal will do. So it will be 11 days of every month from the creation date of the Power App. I can also define what are the things that I want to allow them to renew. So I want to make sure that they renew the data owner, the membership. I want them to verify the information that they provided as a context. So they told me that they accepted the terms. There is no business critical. There is no purpose. So I want to make sure that when I do the renewal, I reconfirm all of this again, as well as the number of co-owners. One owner is not enough. I want to make sure that there is 2 co-owners at least, the owner and 2 co-owners. And when they have the renewal process, I will allow them to delete the Power App if it's no longer needed. So you define all of this in the profile, and then automatically an app is created, the profile is applied on it. Once it's applied on it, then it's time now to be renewed. The Power App owner or the approver can within team use our app My Hub, and then they go to the to-do list. As an example, I will search for milestones. So in here as an approver, I can see everything that needs my action, my confirmation. This can be renewing of any of the M65 or Azure supported services that we provide. So I will search in here for one of the Power Apps, just to give you an example. So I know that there is Milestones app, and this one will require renewal. So I can see that there is a renewal in here. I click on it, I can see all the details about the app, the ID, a link to the app, if I want to check it, who is the primary, the secondary, the owners, the co-owners, and what profile is applied on this one. It's pending renewal now, so I can just come in here and say, yeah, I'm ready to renew it. Once you do that, you allow them to see a message that confirms them what is the process, what they are doing. And then they have this visibility of, again, the ownership, the member statistics, but also what can tell me if it's orphan or not. I can see the last launch date. I can see the last published date. I can see when it's modified. If it's 2 years ago, 1 year ago, then it's not needed. So I'll just come in here and say, I no longer need it. I want to delete it. Or I want to make sure that another assignee will take this decision because I don't know about this app anymore, or I'm not the right one to do the action. So I want to just find from the admin or delegate it to the admin to do it. So they have the option in here as an approver to decide if it's no longer needed. But if they said I need it, I want to follow the process. So I allow them to follow the process to do these 3 things: contact, membership, and provide the business context information. So the contact in here, I know that these 2 people are still in my organization, or maybe Rita is not working here anymore. So I should change her and add someone else. So I want to add this person to be the co-owner instead of Rita. So now I'm sure that I have 2 contacts, when anything happened with the app, I can reach out and I can ask them what is happening as an admin or as an approver. So I will change this to be the active user, not the user who left the organization. And then I want to see now all the members. So these are the contact people. What about the members that are having access in here? So as you can see in here, there is 3 co-owners. My profile said at least 2 co-owners. So if I decided to delete 2 co-owners from here, and I said I will have 1 owner, 1 co-owner and users, and I try to go next, it will tell me you have to have 2 co-owners for this app. So this is my enforcement that I added in my renewal. Make sure that there is at least 2 co-owners. So if I added another co-owner in here, just add 2 admins. Yeah, I added more than 2. I can then go to the next step and provide this additional information. As you can see, all of this is configurable. I define for them what they control in the renewal. I also define for them what are these questions. So these questions can be any type of control. So this one is drop down. I define the name, I define the values, and I can define whether it's a radio button or checkbox or drop down or a text area. You have the full control to change any of that. And once I'm happy as an approver of all that and I click submit, it's now renewed. It will wait for the new next cycle that I defined in my governance in here. So it will wait for the next cycle. What I defined in here is to have this on every month, day 11 of every month. So it will wait for the next cycle and then do it again and so on. So as you can see, it's really easy. You have the visibility, but at the same time, you have this control on the individual of these objects and also on the governance of them. So the governance in here covers a lot more than the Power App. Our focus of the Power App, but as you can see in here, there's lots on M65 and also Azure. Shared mailboxes, Azure Active Directory, Azure groups. The groups are all included, the security, the mail enabled, as well as the distribution lists. So that's all I wanted to show you in the demo. What we will do now is go back to the slides and do our recap and wait for you if you have any questions.
We do have one question, Sharif. Sally
Sure.
has asked if the minimum of 2 owners is, sorry, let me reread this. The sample of minimum 2 owners, co-owners, is that also enforced if the user changes permission in the Power App GUI?
This will only be enforced when they renew the app as an approver. So if they have the access on the app level and they did this from the app itself, after the renewal, we won't enforce this. But the other way of doing it will be using the in-trust reporting in here. So you can still have the visibility on the Power Apps in here to see who are the owners if you went to this app at any time. And you can create your own view to keep track of these apps if you want to. So I can come in here at any time and see who are the co-owners and the owners, and then override them, delete them, or edit them if I want to. Thank you, Tom. Stopping sharing my screen now.
In hindsight, we probably could have stuck with Sharif's screen, but let me just share. Oh, so we covered a lot of information there, and I'm sure we talk about this stuff every day. So to us, it's comes naturally, and we can go on and on about it. But to you, it's probably a lot of new information, maybe some in over your head, maybe some you're not too sure about. So we kind of just wanted to do a little bit of a recap, which Sharif is going to cover.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, so just a recap of what I showed you today. As Tom mentioned, it's a lot. Try to be as quick as possible so that I give you enough time to question. So what I showed you today is covering all of these common use cases that we saw. So we talked about the problem, we talked about the solutions. In the demo, what I try to focus on is giving you an insight about this visibility, how we can automatically discover any newly created Power Apps. So you don't have to do this manually. How you can have this monitor to identify any objects that doesn't have owners and quickly take an action, whether it's individual or bulk edits with the action in the reporting. We also talked about how confidentially you can move objects within a DevOps process. So move it from the sandbox to QA to production, and at the same time making sure that nothing of these objects are in the wrong environment. So if it's a production one, it should be in production. If it's staging, we are still testing it, shouldn't be in production. We allowed you also in the control to have this pick the correct DLP and applied and define within this DLP what is the actions allowed in flow, what is the security allowed, and also the data policies that is applied. All of this is centralized, as you can see. So it's one app, one UI in Power that we demoed today. It's showing you this dashboard across all of these services, across all of the tenants, if you are connected to more than one tenant. And when it comes to the end user, they can create whatever they want. But as an approvers, as an admin, we still have this end-to-end life cycle that we can control with metadata about the context that we can also capture to know what is happening and when we should retire it or renew it to still be available for everyone to use. Thank you, Tom. So as Tom mentioned and talked in the beginning, all our solutions are 100% SaaS solutions. So we don't have anything that needs to be deployed, installed, prerequisites. All of that is already managed by you. So we are SaaS platform, confidence platform, hosting all of these services. We showed you 2 of them today. We showed you 1 of them last session. We have a lot of other solutions, but they are all for us APIs that we just enabled within the confidence platform. So we are not installing anything for you. You can use App Store model, go there in our confidence platform, single sign-on, see it once, and then log in once, see it all, and then enable anything to try or anything to purchase if you want to as well. So we are hosted on Azure data centers. So by default, it's Southeast Victoria, but we have other Azure data centers that we can host in as well. So this helps with any data residency, any availability. We provide 99.9% availability because we don't copy, we don't transfer, we don't have anything in the middle. It's all within your residency. So if you are in Southeast, M65 is there, we will put our services there. So it will work in hand with everything, providing you with this availability. So we are committed to develop, implement, and maintain any of our administration as well as the safeguards to make sure that the products and the services that we provide are also compliant with ISO. So we are ISO certified, we are IRAP protected, our backup solution. As a Microsoft partner, we follow all the best practices and recommendations. So we are not using service accounts in most of our connections unless it's not supported by Microsoft. We use app registrations. Make sure that there is no throttling issues. We are having API permissions that you have full visibility on. So there is nothing running that you don't know about. You will have all of this in our platform. It's the one place for all the connections. And then from there, you will see Intrust is having access only to these APIs. Within Azure, you can then consent to these APIs or remove them if you don't want. So there is no global admin, there is no service account that we use in all of that.
And for my fellow Kiwis on the call, we are going online in the Northern Data Center whenever that goes online. Yeah. And I know I already mentioned this, but I thought I'd mention it once again. If you're deploying the Power Platform or starting to get more use out of it, we do have a similar webinar to this where we talked about why you might want to consider protecting the data that's created in the Power Platform. Again, you can find that on our website, and that is just part of our backup platform. It covers the Power Platform, and also if you're moving from one tenant to another, we've got you. We've got a migration tool that can move objects within the Power Platform. So just reach out. And with that, I won't push anything more on you, and I will move it to questions and answers. Feel free to shout out, feel free to put it in the chat. We'll hang around. If not, thank you for your time, but we'll take on questions now. Thank you. I can see people slowly dropping off the call. So if you don't feel comfortable, messaging publicly or shouting out, but you do have a question, just reach out. We won't bite, and we'll be more than happy to give you a response and give you some clarification about your query. I'll leave it open for a little bit. Is there anything you think you missed, Sharif, that you'd like to cover very quickly?
No, I think we gave a lot. Just worried that we give too much. I think we draw the picture from the creation to the renewal and the retirement. So I think we are good. We are just waiting to see if there's any other questions. We have lots of thank you. That's great. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. And feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn or socials.
Yes,
everyone.
Still available everywhere.
To oblige. Right. It's always good to get some positive feedback. In that case, Sharif, should we say our goodbyes?
Yes.
Yeah. Again, if you do have questions or want some clarification, just reach out. We'll be more than happy to help out. But thank you for your time. I know everyone is time short or time poor these days, so we appreciate your time. And hopefully you've come out a little bit better and kind of understand, our approach into how to put some control into the Power Platform. So thank you very much.